Hey everyone, I know it's been a bit, but I finally finished Mustang Creek. It took a bit, mainly like because of the length of the section. It was basically a whole hollow core door I was working on. A lot of cliff sides, a lot of carving, plaster work, a lot of drawing. All of that takes an extremely long time for me. I took my time at it. I wasn't in no hurry. I wanted to make sure it was done right. I did make a few mistakes on the way, and I'll point those out as we go, but I'm extremely happy with the finished product. I didn't finish like the creek water section 100% because based on, what I did using the same methods and how I make waterfalls or riverside scene. Yeah, riverside, there we go. It takes a long time to dry, and if it doesn't dry right, it starts to crack. So that I'll do continuously, a few more layers after the video is out and everything. But we're picking up exactly where we left off from the previous one, which is getting this basic like foundation structure, mountains, valley kind of thing for the entire creek. Now, foam carving takes an extremely long time because the hot wire knife, it's not very quick, and if you force it, you end up bending the wire and it comes undone. And it's a whole nother issue of itself, right? But the foam carving is a really crucial part with how I do the scenery. Obviously, you've seen that I do the paper mache kind of thing, but with toilet paper. And in N scale, I think it looks great. If I was in HO, I'd probably do something else and use real dirt or something like that. But the paper mache works fine. And with this, with the top part of the Mustang Creek here, we're gonna start the creek at the top of the hillside basically, because it's coming from up the valley or whatever, and it kind of has like a stair step waterfall thing, which I'm still working on. I'll probably make that a future video or just do another layout update and show that, but it will cascade down and go through the Sawmill's water wheel. Now when I'm plastering everything around the Sawmill, I kind of had in mind like a rocky, muddy kind of area, right? Because it's right next to the creek. There's a lot of runoff from rains and things like that because it's at the bottom of a hill. It's right next to the creek bed right there. So I'm thinking like rocky. I kind of plaster this whole area because I want it to be messy in a way. And flush with the tracks where the loading tracks are right there, the two on the right. That way, there's not like a weird bump because everything is elevated because of the ballast or whatever. And I make sure to carve out some of the ballast right next to the inner part of the track because that's where the flanges are. And I make sure to go all the way to like the base, like plastic ballast part of the Cotto track in case for some reason I get some older rolling stock and the flanges are huge. But I do plan on replacing all the wheels, or whatever you actually call those, right? The wheels on all the trucks of my rolling stock, so they're metal and they're shallow, not this huge flange that only works on like Code 80 stuff. Also, I have some ideas for some future content. I used to do live streaming on Twitch for like 5 years before this, right? Mostly video games, but I kind of don't stream video games anymore and not on Twitch anymore really. And I love doing live stuff, so I'm thinking I have a bunch of buildings and things I need to put together. And I don't plan on putting out videos or content for, the specific building of all these models because they're models. I mean, they're not homemade models. They're ones you buy at the store, on directions and put them together. But I would love to sit down, do that live on the side while I just have the chance to talk to all you guys, learn everything, learn a bunch of tips from you guys, share my experiences, share your experiences. I enjoy that kind of stuff. So I will, not sure on what day or when I'm going to be doing that, but it will be coming out. Probably based on the next video or the video after that, I'll actually have a more definitive hey, here's a calendar. This is when I'm going to do this. But it will be on YouTube, so, same thing. All right, back to what I was doing here. I actually plastered the lower half of Mustang Creek too because the next thing I'm going to do is either going to be Sandy River, which is connected to Mustang Creek, or Midland, which is kind of like a flat industrial outskirt of a town, which was where that base of the cliff was. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I'll probably figure it out after I do this one. But get to my painting and all that, and the best part that I love about this is like when you finally start putting the scenery on, it just completely transforms it. It doesn't look the same at all. It just looks amazing at that point, right? And I do this wet method. I was using quotations with my fingers there too, because I don't know what it's actually called, but someone in the comments said it's the wet method. I agree. I do it in small sections, a little bit at a time. It basically acts as my glue, because then I put like a sealer over the top of it later on. My sealer works for me. I'll show you what I use in a little bit. But now it's come time for ballasting. I've practiced some ballasting a little bit before, not too much. I've messed up about 3 or 4 Kato turnouts when I did my ballasting. But I found out that the best way to do it, I looked at some other YouTubers with their ballasting, particularly like Kato track, right? Because it's not like a normal flex track with the foam or cork board, road bed. That's easy to ballast in my opinion, because I have some of that and I tried it. It's actually really easy. This one YouTuber, his name is Roy Smith, and his channel is the N-Scale Union Pacific Evanston Subdivision. I'll put a link up there in the top right corner so you can check him out. I watched one of his Kato ballasting videos, and I'm like, yeah, that seems the easiest way to do it. So, I just did that. Now, while the glue on the ballast is drying, I'm going to go ahead and get the base, color layer of the Creek put in, because that needs to dry too before I put in my the previous method we discovered, using a clear gloss with some paint tinted into it. And I do a couple layers of that. And now that my ballast is dry, I go ahead and start putting on all the detailing, right? Because I needed the ballast to be done first, because you do everything in layers. Your paint, your foundation, your paint, your scenery, your ballast, then all the little decorations and details. Now, for the main line and some of the loading tracks on through Mustang Creek and some of the mountain area here, I want them kind of overgrown, like nature's just kind of taking control here. It's a less traveled route. This isn't like the main thoroughfare between the two, off layout cities or whatever. So I kind of want the weeds really close. Well, not the weeds, but like the bushes and, the green stuff really close to all the track and everything. And then I do my usual sprinkle salt bay of like all the different things I got. I only got like 3 or 4 different types of like green stuff. I have like knock leaves and 2 or 3 different colors of like foam. Once you mix it all together, it looks good. And I use some rocks, that I sifted out of the sand. And here's the dollar store adhesive I use. It's Tresemme hairspray. It works. It's ultra hold. It works. I use it on my trees, and it's $1, and it lasts a lot more than the store-bought like spray Mod Podge stuff like that. Now the last thing I do is put in all my trees, and I basically, to stab the tree in, I use the same skewer I use to make the trees. That way it fits perfectly. And if for some reason I want to take the trees out or use them in something else or like change the color, it's easy to pull them out. They're not glued in. They're going to stay in as long as like you don't let your dog run on top of the layout. They're not going to move. Now here's an overview. I wasn't like I think I need more trees, so I pull out the stockpile that I made a couple months ago, and I put every single one of these trees in here because I want the entire layout to feel incredibly full, if you know what I mean. I don't want it to be sparse. I left certain areas vacant of trees, so your arm has reach to go in and throw the turnouts and unhook things, right? But where you're just traveling from point A to point B, I need a lot of scene separators. So I put a lot of the trees right here on the right side of the screen to separate the lower route up from the mid-level right here, because this is like 2 or 3 inches higher. And now that I got all that in with all that hairspray and everything like that, right? Our dollar store sealer, you gotta clean the track really good with Bright Boy or whatever you want to use. And I messed up some of the ballasting when I was running one of my freight cars over it. It kept derailing a little bit because I put too much ballast on this corner right here. So don't be afraid, if you make mistakes, don't settle. Rip it up. It's easy to rip it up. It's just glue, right? And redo it. Now I found running just a bead of glue down the center is a lot better than kind of just dabbing it on with the brush. I run a bead of like a string of glue down the center and then brush it smooth and barely put any ballast in the middle. And now I want to go ahead and take the time to thank you for watching. this is the end of it, and you may notice some similarities from the previous layout update we did. This is the exact same train movements, switching operation here, but with a full and complete scene. So if, you can see a big chunk of progress that happened right here. And if you've enjoyed the content, feel free to subscribe and go ahead and comment with your opinions of our first complete scene right here, Mustang Creek. I'm still going to work on the waterfall and building up the rest of the creek. I only got like the very first few layers there, but it's going to be fantastic, and I'll update you guys on that one later. Also, one more thing. It would be a big favor to me if you guys would tell me if you want to see more videos more often, or videos like this where there's like bigger sections that are transforming, more done, but the videos are going to take a lot longer to put out there. Just your opinion of what you'd like to see, because this is all new to me, right? And I'm learning as I go. And a reminder, in between the videos, I also have some planned content. I'm gonna do some live streams. Don't know exactly when, right? I'm still thinking about that, but those will be in between these videos as well, and it'll all be on YouTube. Also, I don't know how many of you use Discord, but I use it a lot. It's a great tool if you ever want to like hang out with me, chat about whatever, ask for some sneak peeks of what's coming up, and sometimes I just post whatever in there. I'll post my Discord link down there if you know what that is and you want to be part of the server. I'll put a link in the description so you can join right up. And right now, that's the easiest tool for me to use to build this community, because you can't use the community thing on YouTube until you're like, so X amount of this, X amount of that. So that's just an easy way to see what's going on in the back end. And with all that said, I need to get started on the next one, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.